Welcome to Red Stars Report, a podcast for fans of Chicago Stars FC and a community for everyone. I am your host, LT.
And I am your co-host, Liz.
The Chicago Stars lost against the top club in the league. No surprises there. Uh, Casey Current, 3-1. Shea Groom, however, had the lone goal, her first as a star. Air Groom in full flight. What'd you think of Groom's goal? Because I have very little else to say about this match, I think. We'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, what do you think about Shea's goal?
Unexpected. I was going to look it up and I did not have time to do so. I wanted to see the last time Chicago scored on a set piece.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and I forgot to do that. And it's been a long time, I'm pretty sure. So um that's where I'm at with it, but I'm excited. And also I know a lot of people aren't big on like XG. I don't like it as a stat for a lot of things, but we scored and Chicago's total XG for the game was 0.07. So that tells you how fantastic of a goal that was by Shea Groom. If their
Yeah.
entire XG was 0.07, it was
Completely
very unexpected.
unexpected, you may say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same mind.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I've been waiting for Shea Groom to score since she got here. I'm very happy that she was able to get that. She seemed incredibly happy that she, finally broke that barrier that she was stuck behind. And she did it playing as a wingback in this formation change. I'm curious because this week was the first week that Cam Bogalski is on the injured list, and this is the first week where interim head coach Misaki Hemi decided to change the formation, the shape of the club, and I'm I don't know if this was like in response to Cam's injury or if this was supposed to sort of always be the plan. It just depended on like who the personnel was just going to slot in there with Cam gone. But they played in a three back at times of five back with the wing backs dropping back. It looked offensively shaped like a three back with the wing backs trying to play up high. But Taylor was playing a lot in her normal outside back position. The field position averages in the stat data literally just looks like a four back. So it didn't change much other than like a couple players positioning offensively. But what do you think of this whole change? And do you think that it was planned or just a response to Cam being gone?
I think it was a response to Cam being gone. I think that you don't know, like you don't have somebody that's you want to plug and play there. I mean, I know that a lot of people are there's some people you could throw out there, but I think that it's good to try. I like the fact that they're trying something, I guess. I'm not sure I would do it against a top team. It's kind of like what they did against Orlando last year, how we decided, oh, we're not going to low block anymore and we're just going to go for it. And then that didn't go well. But I'm okay with trying. But I don't like Shea Groom as a wingback. That to me is an odd choice. Taylor makes sense because she's definitely more of an offensive minded, I think, outside back in general. I would not be opposed to seeing this with Cam back. But I'll be curious to see when she comes back what they do, if they revert back or they try it. I think that they could do this against teams where they will be more they can be more offensive. I think a team like Kansas City, it's really hard. Obviously, given what I said with their XG, obviously they didn't have very many offensive attempts. So playing a three back did not create any more offensive opportunities. They had a total of two shots, one of which was on
Went
goal and
in.
scored. So they were 50%. I mean, come on now.
Yeah. I mean, their goal average is like 40 something, like high 40s, because when they do
When you
get
don't
shots
shoot a
on
lot.
goal, they tend to go in. Like that's kind of sort of how they are. They just don't shoot often enough at the goal to have an average sort of skewed that way. Yeah, I think Shay is a wingback interesting. When she scored, it was on a set piece, so it's not even like formationally. It was something that allowed her to get in the offense. She did get into great offensive position. She made good runs on the outside, made good passes, good connections with the left winger, whoever it was, depending on who was rotating over there. I think this formation specifically is an odd choice now where Julia Grosso was sort of on the up and up. And then this kind of formation is completely against her style. Putting her on that right wing or the left wing after kind of having her a little more centrally lately, I felt was not a smart choice. She didn't get on the ball as much as she had the last few matches. Didn't see her really assert herself offensively often. And it was just a lot of like passing in the back and waiting for opportunities. And then when those opportunities didn't come, they just would fall into Kansas City's pressure. So yeah, they trapped them, and it it, it was harmful in so many ways.
Yeah,
So
they're very good at their trap, and they we fell into it numerous times, and it's hard not to. They're a talented team. I thought that maybe Chicago had an opportunity to go at their back line a little bit. I think that there are some opportunities there, but unfortunately, it didn't really happen. Only two shots. But Shea Groom, I love watching her on the field. She is fantastic at drawing fouls. She gets under players' skin. I've said this before. I mean that in a good way when I say it for Chicago. Hate to play against her. Love when she's on your team type of player.
yeah,
And yeah, I just want to go back to the goal for a second. Like, I know you mentioned it, that she was so happy. She played that ball perfectly. Like the movement that was on that play, the way the ball in was great. The way she got her head on it, the pace that was on it, it was all just so good. And I'm hoping that we can see more of that. I'm hoping that there's confidence just across the board a little bit more on set pieces. We can see more. We have aerial talent. That's the thing. We should be scoring more on set pieces, corner kicks, things like that. And so it's unfortunate when you're taking, to get back to the Julia Grosso bit, it's unfortunate when you're taking one of our offensively talented players that has been moving in a more positive direction and you're putting them in a place where they're not going to, their skills are not going to be utilized as well. That is not what we want. We need to be taking a player like that who has struggled and continue to propel them to do what they've been doing and do it more frequently. And it feels like she didn't get as many touches. I feel like Ludmila did hardly touch the ball in the game. And you're not going to win games when you're doing that. It's just not going to happen. And I, I don't know. I didn't care for whatever these change ups were. I appreciate change. I just didn't care for these. And again, this season is kind of like, what are we doing? They're still really in it. The league is chaotic. You know, if you go on a hot streak here, like you could be in the playoffs, but
one
they
win
gotta
somehow they could still make the playoffs.
they gotta figure it out sooner rather than later, though, if that's actually going to happen. But barring some of the things that occurred in the game, we don't know the status of some players at this
Yeah,
point. B. Franklin, our two Iron Woman candidates, both unfortunately. I don't know if there's another one. If
I
there
think
is,
Taylor's
Taylor.
still.
Okay.
I don't remember if she got subbed out recently or not, but I think the last time I looked, she was still Iron Woman
Okay, then
status. But
we
yeah,
still have
B,
Taylor Malum.
B and Alyssa.
Yes,
So
unfortunately, do not know the status of them. To me, it looked like some sort of arm wrist injury for Alyssa. She was definitely holding it differently. B was a head injury with a collision with Lorena, which looked nasty, but not dirty.
no,
Like
no.
just it just looked bad. And so yeah, it's unfortunate because B has had a fantastic season. Definitely no sophomore slump there. And Alyssa's Alyssa. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, without Alyssa in that match, she made some incredible saves, and without her, certainly would not have the 3-1 score line there could have been two, three, four other goals in there without her. We saw the when she came out, we saw the debut of Hallie Makowitz. Didn't really touch the ball or get pressured because it was near the very end of the match. So if it has to be her because Mackenzie Wood is also injured, we'll see next week if that's possibly what could happen. We'll get status updates on Alyssa as soon as the club provides them to us. And then B, yeah, head injury. We don't know the status on her currently either. But her and Maitani in the midfield have really, really defensively been um, fantastic, I think. And even just their ability to move the ball either forward or switching in the point of attack, it just has made a world of difference in that midfield that we would come here and talk week in and week out about how much Chicago's midfield is a struggle. And I think it's interesting that it's like you talk about defensive struggles like 2 years ago, then we were talking about the midfield last year and this year, and now we're talking about the forwards. Like it's just progressively like things keep getting better from the back upward. Um, Obviously the defense still has a horrible habit of defensive breakdowns on set pieces and defensive resets. So yeah, the defense still needs work, but we're also missing players. Players are playing out of position. It's a little bit of a mess back there right now as well. But it's nice to see Sam Staub really, really continue to sort of come back into the Sam Staub that we've known for so long.
Yeah, with Emma Hayes at the game, I feel like Sam definitely had a good game. I think that she hopefully showed Emma what she's capable of. I also would like to say I think Hannah Anderson stepping back into the starting lineup actually had a really good game as well.
Yeah.
I love how she has grown from her rookie year to be confident in stepping up into the midfield at times to uh, possess the ball, like get takeaways, that sort of thing. When you trust the players around you, that sort of thing can happen. And I was really impressed with what I saw from her since she has been benched recently. That can really deflate your confidence. And it looked like it just spurred her on to want to prove herself to everybody, like what she brings to the table.
Yeah, I don't think I mean, she's been on the bench for so long. I don't think she's like at last year Hannah Anderson right now. But she certainly went out there and I thought did the best she possibly could in a new formation, playing in the middle of a three back, which is incredibly difficult. I think the last player that successfully played the middle of a three back for Chicago was Zoe Morse, a converted midfielder, and she was tremendous back there.
That was a wild season.
Yeah, she was amazing though, and then went to England and then retired. But yeah, I loved Zoe Moore. She was fantastic. Uh, so this formation change saw Hannah Anderson play in the middle. We saw Hannah come back and play at the center back position last week, which we didn't have a podcast for, so I'll mention it here. But that was sort of like a hope that it's like, okay, now she's seen the field again. Like maybe we can get more. Maybe selfishly, I want this three back to continue if it means more Hannah Anderson. But I don't know about it. But I thought she did a good job. I think Sam, especially with that service to Shea on that, the set piece was like classic Sam Staub, and like you said, to do it in front of Emma is good points towards a call up. Hopefully, in the future, it just I don't know what Emma feels. I don't know if Emma feels the same way as other national team coaches when it comes to like uh, club records and shit. So
I think that she knows. I think she gets it. And um, I think she's just waiting to see since Staub is coming back from such a serious injury, just to give her some more time
Yeah.
because you don't want to put more workload on a player that's already going to have a big workload for Chicago. I expect to see her probably I in the fall is my guess.
The center back position is also thinning for the national team, so
Yes.
that's
I know that Alana Cook
unfortunately an
injury, like,
opportunity for her.
yeah, that Alana Cook injury is very unfortunate, tearing pretty much everything that you can in your knee. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm hoping to see Sam Staub in the future. I think we will. I think that Jamise obviously too. She got called up to the U23s,
Yeah, and they're actually going to play
and
matches this time.
yeah, and I'm gonna try and figure out how we can watch them. That's
Thank
my
you.
next. That is my next thing to plead to US Soccer to make sure that we can watch those.
Yeah.
But yeah, she'll be traveling to Germany, so that will be really fun during this international break.
Yeah, that'll be good for her as well. Like her getting more and more international experiences, all the better for Chicago's future because, she is the future of that front line. So the more she can be in those upper level of professional environments, the better.
Oh yeah. Another return, a big return, even in the loss, the return of Jenna Bike.
I'm so happy.
I was happy even though they lost.
Especially because Jenna Bike wingback is
That's her,
great.
that's
That's
her
her bread and
thing.
butter. So the fact that she got to come back for a match and play wingback was great. She didn't get a whole lot of minutes, but when she was out there, I thought she did a great job in a return from such a long injury.
I know. I'm hoping that we can just slowly see some of these players trickle back in, like Natalia Kuika, still waiting on that. Obviously, do not want to rush back. Don't not. We've seen too much of that in the league this year, where you see somebody be off for a while, they come back for a week, and then they're right back on the injury list. We
Yeah,
don't want to see that from anybody. So hopefully we can get Kuika back. But yeah, Jenna Bike is such a great player to have either off the bench or in the starting lineup, whatever they do moving forward. She's always been a fantastic sub. Another player just like Shay that is really great at drawing fouls. And
winning
so we
corners.
yes, we love all of those things. But speaking of like she didn't get very many minutes, that is my one knock that I feel like has transitioned from Lorne as coach to now Masaki Hemi. I feel like we still are very slow and late on substitutions. Like we're not letting players even have time to really play themselves into games. Like I feel Jenna Bike, for example, could be somebody, obviously there could be minutes restrictions, whatever that may be, but a player like Michaela Johnson, she is such a spark. And when you're only giving her 5 to 10 minutes a game, she can't even really play herself into anything. She's going to get a couple touches on the ball, and it's like, okay, make something happen on these like 5 touches you're going to get. That's not. I don't know. The stat that was thrown out there the other day in the Discord, where it was a table of players in their teens and who has the most minutes on clubs and who has the least, and Chicago plays their teenager the least of anybody.
Yeah, and you'd think it would be like, the better teams
Yeah.
in the league that would play their teenagers less. But no, it's the team at the bottom of the table that doesn't even use their youngest player.
And she
I
did her
totally agree
move.
with you.
She did her move.
Her every time she was on the ball, it was electric, which
Yeah.
was like, why don't you want that for like 20, 30 minutes? Like it's just so good. She did the exact move that she did when she scored a goal in the U17 tournament earlier this year. The like ball coming towards her and then her just like hesitating like she's going to put her back to goal and then she just moves with it and breaks free of the back line. And she did it against, you know, multi-year pros and not uh 17-year olds.
Under 17 year
So
olds.
yeah. So yeah, it was great. And then there was another one of her on the sideline. There was like three defenders around her and she was just like dancing with the ball, making them look like fools. And it's like you need to play this player more. Um,
Right. I
it,
agree.
getting 5 to 10 minutes when you're down two is what's the point? I don't know. I need more of her. She seems to be more electric than some of the subs that are coming in earlier. So I'd rather see that
She seems
than
like
some of the others.
our if we need a goal sub right now. That's truly what she seems like because
And she doesn't even have one.
no, but it seems like she's the one that would be like, hey, who's going to go out there and like get us an opportunity?
Mhm.
I don't know of anybody else, like no offense to anybody on the bench, but she just is so talented with her foot skills and things like that that she is that player. And
Yeah,
so I would like to see her get more minutes. I would not be opposed at some point this season just starting her just one time. See what
sure.
happens. Why not? I
I
would
thought it
not be opposed to
was
it.
I thought it was interesting that last week they decided to bench Mies to utilize her energy and her skills later in the match. And if it weren't for an offside call, it literally worked. Like they needed a goal. She got them a goal. It was called offside. I haven't gone back and looked. I don't know if that was actually offside. It was very, very close. Um, and it worked. And then this week you bench Ali and put Mies back in the lineup. And it's like it's fine. I have no problem with having Ali's energy off the bench either. But like benching Mies last week and utilizing her for 30 minutes at the end of the match worked. And then you don't do it this week. Like the thing that worked last week, you use this week. And I thought that was a strange
Or sub it if you want to
idea.
start Jamise, then sub an MJ for 30. Like
Yeah.
it's this it's like a similar
This
move.
this was the first time in a while that they actually subbed Ludmila out much earlier than she ever does. And that's when they brought in Ali, which is sort of like a completely different presence in the middle uh versus Ludmila. Ludmila not like a back to goal up top nine. Uh, so I don't know what they're trying to do with their with their front three, front four, depending on the formation, but it's still not working out, obviously, uh, because they didn't get any goals in the run of play. It was just off a set piece this time, and that's they didn't get any um, before either. So it's still a struggle on offense, still a major struggle.
Well, they'll get some practice in international break and then get some time to heal with whatever ailments everybody has. So hopefully they can kind of sort it out. Obviously, some players will be away for there'll be other places, but I'm curious to see how the team does moving forward with the substitutions because I think that certain players have proven themselves. I also think statistically, when you look at the back line of who's playing well, I just think that there's some movement that could be happening there. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think that there should be some movement happening.
I still want I know that they're using Hannah as a center back in a three back here, and then they used her as a center back last week when they subbed her in. But I'm saying, like, if you need to find a spot for her and you don't want her playing center back, just check her out at outside back. I don't, I don't, in a four back, not in the three back, but in the four back. I think it could possibly work. I don't know. She's got a great left foot. She can make those long passes that those outside backs are often uh, trying to utilize when they're getting balls into the attacking third. So yeah, I don't know. I want to see. I just want Hannah to be on the field. So put her
Same.
on the
I want
field in any way possible, and then
give me the
she
best defensive players. Like just give me all that are solid defensive players. Like, but I believe that the person that won player of the match in the Discord was my Tani Lopez.
which is which is so true. I don't know. Like
I voted
Chicago,
for her. I actually voted this time, and I was the first one that
nice.
voted for my Tani.
I think. like Chicago has been known for years about like their defensive midfielders, like Julie Ertz and Vanessa DiBernardo when she played back there when she wasn't playing forward, Danny Colaprico, like their defensive midfielders have always been these like hailed players of, and also at times unsung. And it's really nice to see that a community can watch my Tani play for uh, the last several weeks and be like, she might be up there as one of our best
She's good.
players.
She's good.
What an off-season signing. Like you needed to fix the midfield, and the coaches, the front office clearly believed that B is sort of that choice in the midfield, that no matter who they pair her with, it's still going to be her that gets paired with somebody and not the other way around. And the fact that they came into this season and it was a little bit of a struggle to begin with because Maitani was injured, and then the second Maitani was put in that midfield, the connection between her and B and the way they communicate with each other and the way they play off each other is just it's working out, and I couldn't ask for more of either of those players. But what an off-season signing to fix the midfield by this front office to get Maitani.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I chuckle every time I read things that say that Chicago had made no moves in the offseason. And I'm like, they did. It might
Yeah.
not be a huge name to you, but she fixed our midfield.
That was also the discussion was constantly about Chicago's terrible midfield. Um, and
And she can play
everyone,
center back if she had to.
right, and because she played center back on a championship winning team, and like the conversation was also like the lack of defensive signings. They signed Justina Gaynor, but she was a midfield converting to an outside back position. Um, the injuries on the defensive end are obviously like, putting a spotlight on the lack of defensive signings in the off season. But like who could have predicted that Natalia Kuika was going to be injured? But clearly the front office knew that Sam was closer to coming back than anybody thought, and that's why they felt like they could spend their money uh, for more forward on the field and the midfield and the offensive line.
Yeah, I huge signing, fantastic game, fantastic player. I think she's getting better as the season's gone on. She's getting more comfortable, which is awesome. I think she also helps B at who's still obviously young and growing. It helps her. I'll be curious if B is unable to play in the next game. Obviously, this is me just speculating. If for some reason she's unable to play, I'll be curious to see who they bring in to fill that role. It'll be interesting, and it'll be interesting to see the chemistry.
Yeah, I my guess, depending on the formation, would either be Carrie or move Julia back there.
Mhm.
That would be my guess. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll see what happens with B's status updates in the coming weeks
Yep. And
as
that's the
well.
thing. With it being an international break, we've got more time, depending on whatever it is. And we don't know, but it's just an interesting thought because it's unfortunate because they've been building such good chemistry. If for some reason she were unable to play in the next game, I would be very curious to see who they would put out there in that role. And
And
it
if
could
it would
be,
work.
yeah, and if it would work. Yep, that would be the next part of it.
Yeah, I think what my Tani brings though is like we've talked about the midfield and their struggles with like receiving the ball with their back toward the offense and either back passing or losing the ball or whatever. Maitani has this like innate ability to be able to turn with the ball or literally just turn and face up the defender and just dance around them. Like it's so impressive what she can do with the ball at her feet, and she's just been a joy to watch this whole season. So it's nice to have her on this team, and hopefully she sticks around.
Yeah, I great signing. Can't say enough. Yeah, I also have a new player that's so versatile. I think is important too. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully everybody's ready to go after the international break. I mean, to have two players go down with injury, it is good that there's time now.
Yeah.
So whatever they are, obviously we don't know, but we will see.
Yeah, and then during that international break, like we mentioned, we have Jamise Joseph with the U23s, and then Ludmila got called in to the Brazil national team as well. I believe in substitution for an injured player, and
Mhm.
then Julia Grosso with Canada, as is the norm. So watch them.
As
Go watch them.
always.
Go watch the Stars play during the international break.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
in
then when they play Angel City in after the break, Ava Cook's gonna come have a brace again. So I'm just waiting for that.
That's true. I mean, I wish he was getting a little more minutes, but
Yep.
I mean, the Chicago's center of their attack is not doing too hot right now, and they seem content on playing her as a winger or an outside back. So I don't, they do not seem to want to play her at the nine, and that is confusing me because she's very good there. But
She is a nine. She is built as a nine.
she's I think quite literally the only player that has like such great ball skill playing with her back to the goal. Her distribution is great doing that, and Chicago doesn't do that at all with anybody. Everybody, tries, but they they don't uh, tend to succeed unless they're facing the goal. So yeah, I'd rather them utilize her in that kind of way, but and she's not getting that many minutes, but she has scored so many goals against Angel City, who they play next. So that would be wonderful if that came to fruition again.
Yes, it'd be nice.
So in another piece of news, a rather interesting one, the Chicago Stars are reportedly considering moving their home matches next season. And one of those reported locations is Northwestern Medicine Field at Martin Stadium on Northwestern's campus. The club has confirmed that the stadium is part of various stadiums that they are looking at as their SeatGeek Stadium contract comes to an end at the end of this season. And the club is playing on September 7th at that field in sort of like a one off special location match against the Orlando Pride. And it's being billed as Student Day. So, what are your thoughts on this possible move? They've had um, the zoning analysis, and it's for 16 home matches next season, and like tailgating in the field that's right next to it, like fan zone, concession, like it's like everything. Like it's like they zoned everything for a move, and there's no reports of any other location. Obviously they could go back to SeatGeek if they extended their lease there, but what do you think about this move, and then also this like test match essentially at the field in September?
I feel like the test match is going to be like, yeah, this is what we're doing. Like this, I think at this point, this is what they've decided like they want to do. Like this is like they're pretty much this is the move, but they want to confirm that it's going to go well, see what they get for crowd size, see what they can do, type of thing. Unfortunately, Orlando, that's not the best. I mean, it's a good draw because
It's
there's a lot of superpowers there, but not an ideal team for Chicago to show off their skill against one of the best teams in the league.
yeah.
But I would like to say roll the tape because back in the offseason, I am fairly positive I said they were going to move to a Northwestern, and you were like, no, they're not. No, they're
But
not.
it was I'd have to look back because it's something that I feel like I brought up but I said that they probably wouldn't do it. But that was mostly because it's temp stadium, like it's a temp
And it's
seating
turf.
stadium. It's turf. Uh, so I was kind of like on the edge. Like I was like, I don't think they'd do that. Like it'd be like it not to the extent of like the Benedictine days, but it still feels very like we're gonna go play at a college stadium that isn't like a stadium. You know, it's not like they're playing at San Diego State like San Diego does. Like it's not like that.
It's like when was it Sky Blue played? It was back when they were Sky Blue played at Rutgers, like that
Oh,
sort.
sure.
Yeah, it was kind of
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
So yeah, turf. Uh, the some of the cons that I've heard. First of
Yes.
all, actually, let's talk about this. So the stadium itself, like for people who don't know, is it's where Northwestern's like soccer and lacrosse and everything play. But the stadium is very small, very tiny, and they are renovating Ryan Field. My Evanstonians will know it as Dyke Stadium because it'll be Dyke Stadium to the day I die. Uh, the renovations for that are underway, and so last season Northwestern's football team and this season are playing at this stadium on Northwestern's campus on the lakeshore. And to in order to do this, they built like these temporary stands and temporary like media boxes, press boxes, like everything's all just sort of there temporarily, and it'll be torn down someday, I'm sure. And the football team, the stadium's renovations are done by the time the next NWSL season starts. So they'll be good to go and not have to compete with any sort of football team playing there. But on September 7th, the team Northwestern is playing their season. They're starting their season that weekend there. So that's interesting. Um, so that's why this stadium exists as an option. And I think that's interesting that the city is sort of like going to keep the temporary stuff up for the stars specifically, it seems like.
Yeah, I think it's a very pretty location, right on the lake. But as you said, it's temp. It's kind of just like a makeshift thing
It's
that
a little janky.
Northwestern is yeah, I saw some football games over there in that location this last year, and so it was very interesting to see that. I don't know. I think from what I've read from comments, a lot of people are either excited about it or they're not happy about it because either it's making their commute because SeatGeek, they're close to SeatGeek, or people are like, oh, this is awesome because there's transit.
Mhm.
But then there's some people who are like, oh, well, the transit, it takes me X amount of time. So it's what is going to be interesting with this move if they do it next season will be will there be an influx of more people, different people, and will they be able to keep the same people that were going out to SeatGeek?
Yeah,
That's going to be all questions that I'm curious to see what happens. And I guess that game on September 7th will be an interesting indicator, but it's a one-off. So
yeah.
you're going to have people that are maybe are season ticket holders that are like, well, if they move out here, I'm not keeping my season
I've
tickets
heard a
because
couple already say that.
yeah, my commute is going to be whatever. Like for me, obviously I live out of state. It is going to, if I want to go there, it's going to add an extra hour on top of my
Same.
already long commute to get there. And I'm going to have to take public transit instead of, I'm not driving all the way there. I'm not doing that. And so I don't know. It's going to be hard for me, but I'm kind of an outlier because I live in Iowa.
Right.
So
Not
that's,
just in a different
but
suburb.
right. But that's the thing is that's going to be interesting. And I think this is bigger picture and they just need to worry about fans in general. But yes, you want the Chicago fans, but also like teams like Kansas City and teams like all the other teams, there are fans that come from out of state. And I think this move might make it a little bit more challenging for people to get there if they don't understand the ins and outs and they don't want to go all the way down to the lake because
Maybe
that's going
some
in there.
maybe some more Wisconsin people will come.
Possibly. I mean, we might. That's the thing. I'll be curious to see if what it's like, but that game being a one-off, it's going to be so hard to say.
I would be curious, and we can obviously talk about more when and if it gets
It's gonna
confirmed.
get, we know it's gonna probably get confirmed. Like the fact that they've done a zoning thing, there's
And the
no
fact that
other
they're already playing
indication.
there, yeah.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I mean, unless the September match goes like horribly wrong, like logistically, I'm pretty sure they're going to play there. But my curiosity comes from how often they're going to market towards Northwestern students because, like, I'm wondering if they're going to have like ticket giveaway events, like certain special things for students, like I'm really curious to see if they sort of try to pack that stadium with numbers by utilizing the convenience of Northwestern being 2 feet away.
Well, could it be something like, oh, you're a football season ticket holder, you get automatic free tickets to go to the Stars games,
Right.
or oh, you went to a Northwestern soccer game or whatever sport, here's a free ticket to the Stars game, or bring your student ID and you get a free whatever at the like, anything like that.
And just
I
how
bet,
much marketing is going to
yeah.
just be like around there. Like, I don't know what that's going to be. Like, is there going to be like advertisements on Northwestern's campus to go see the Stars at Northwestern's, soccer stadium? Uh, yeah, I think that'll be an interesting thing to see. I totally understand the people that, live closer to SeatGeek and have cars that, go there as season ticket holders or not season ticket holders, just go often. This move not being super, great in that regard because it's an extra drive, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on where you live. And I understand people who live in the city of Chicago or live in the northern suburbs who are like all for this because public transit from Chicago up to Evanston is fantastic. Like people in my family's from Evanston. Like people in my family have used that public transportation their entire lives. And and then people who live in the northern suburbs, uh, places, Wilmette, Winnetka, like those areas are going to have such much more access to the stars than they ever have before. Now, can this team make it desirable outside of just a location to come see them? That's going to be the bigger question. But the location itself, as we mentioned, turf, not. I'm curious how many players know that it's turf. Uh, I'm curious how much I'm pretty sure Mackenzie Wood played there when she was with Northwestern. I'm curious how many people she's talked to about the stadium and its turf and its atmosphere and everything. But also the weather, because the beginning of the NWSL season and the NWSL season are going to be cold as off that
The
lake.
lake's gonna be so fun.
So cold, so windy. Not that SeatGeek isn't windy, but it's certainly not going to be as cold as a nice 30, 40, 50-degree day off uh the Lake
Right off the
Michigan.
lake.
Yeah. Nice and cold.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see. I'm sure that the players have been talked to about the move. And it is what it is. Like it sounds like this is probably going to be what's happening. I don't think they would be playing this game in September if it wasn't the move. I just wouldn't
Yeah.
make any sense to do that.
And just like I know this club like obviously has been keeping a lot of things under wrap when it comes to like and obviously like let's preface this is a temporary solution. Like they're just the city said in their city council meeting that this is for 2026, like that's it, and then if another year needs to be added on, they will do that, but for now like this is just for a year. And whether or not they'll have to go and look for another location after that. But we know that the club is looking for locations to build their own soccer specific stadium. It's been repeated over and over again that they want to be within Chicago city limits. And so don't expect a stadium to be built in Evanston or whatever. Like that's not going to happen. And so they keep a lot of things under wraps. So I don't know, like we don't know the locations that they've been looking at for those stadiums or that stadium location to be built, but we also have not heard anything other than this Northwestern one for any other places that they've been zoning for play next season. So I don't know what the other plans would be. It's either this or just back at SeatGeek. And it's a possibility. Like I said, if this September 7th match doesn't go well logistically and the team and the club doesn't, like it as much as they thought they did and people don't show up as much as they expect to show up, they'll just sign another 1 or 2 year lease with SeatGeek. We don't know. But obviously we'll let you know whenever it gets confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, also they're going to be looking at the turf. That's going to be a big thing on in the game in September. Looking at the turf because if it's a problem, they might go back to SeatGeek because they don't want to put players at risk. Turf sucks. Nobody
Yeah.
likes it. It's a temp thing. I get it. Now I feel like I can't talk crap about Portland if they move
Suck
out
Portland.
there.
We can say it
But
now.
I know we could say it now because we still don't like it. But the thing is I know people like want to know, oh, where are they looking? I'm curious, like where in the city are they looking? There's a reason they're keeping it quiet because if somebody knows that Laura Ricketts is looking for a piece of land and it's her looking, they're going to jack the price up immensely. So
Mhm.
they are keeping it completely quiet about where they're looking. It's probably not even her that's looking. It's some person of a person of a person that's looking at something so they can't even tie it back because they want to know like how much because we don't want them to have to spend more money than they have to because they know Laura Ricketts has a lot of money. So they want to spend as little as they can because we want them to have money to build the roster. And that's the other thing also when you're talking about, well, why haven't they signed all these players and why aren't they doing this and all these other teams are doing that? They're trying to buy land, they're trying to build the stadium, they're trying to do all of these things, plus build a roster, but
And
all
no
of those
one's
things are
coming
money.
to the matches to make money.
Yes,
So,
exactly. So it's hard, and I'm very curious how this game in September is going to go. I will not, unfortunately, I want to go so bad, but that's my brother's birthday, so I will not be there. But we'll see I'm curious to see how it looks. I feel like it could
yeah.
be very visually pleasing with the lake, if depending on where they
Yeah,
put the camera.
I know some people are talking about the stands that face the lake, I believe, have this like permanent netting that doesn't come
Oh
down in
yeah.
front of it, and they're disappointed by that. Uh, and that's understandable. But I don't know what that netting necessarily looks like, but if it's anything like netting like in a by behind like the dugouts or home plate at like a baseball
You could
game,
hardly even see it.
you very quickly forget that it's there. But I think this netting is like a little thicker, like it's a little more noticeable. So yeah, we'll see what happens. That September match, I'm hoping that I can be there. I'll be in the press box if not whatever that temp press box looks like.
It's gonna be
Um,
fun. It's gonna be a
and with
cardboard
a
box on
nice
top of a ladder.
breeze blowing into it from the lake. Yeah, that's gonna be lovely.
My question is, can they kick the ball in the lake? Is that an option or is there
Ooh,
netting?
I don't know if I've seen any of the Northwestern college players do that, but that would be fun if they did. We'd get that like River Ball 2.0 or whatever
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
Kansas City days.
Yeah.
That was fun.
But yeah, it's not perfect, but we will now have the opportunity to see what people in that part of it's not really Chicago, Evanston, what they have to if they show up and we'll see what happens. And it
And
could be a whole new group of fans.
if they show up, the club makes money.
And they'll probably
More
look to be on
players
that
can
side of the city.
players can sign more uh, for more money.
That's the
They
thing.
can have more money for a
If you
stadium.
if you live on that side of the city and you want them to be on that side of the city, I would go to that game.
Yeah.
Because then if they're like, "Oh, look at these numbers."
Yeah. And if it is that area next season, if they're playing on that field next season, show up
Yep.
because it's like this club needs to be profitable
Hmm.
if it wants to succeed in the future. So I know it's not a beautiful product to show up and watch right now, but um, it but just keep watching, keep being a fan. I think that's incredibly important. Don't give up on this team. Teams go through years of struggle. It's sports. It's not unheard of. We've all been through it in other sports that we all may follow. So yeah, it's
Yes.
yeah. So yeah, stay with us. We'll keep you updated on all the Northwestern stuff. Make sure that you watch our international players this
I will
international
be.
break.
Well, not ours, but I'm going to the US game in St. Paul.
Nice. Yeah, watch the US game, great players. But yeah, watch Canada for Julia, watch Brazil for Ludmila. We'll figure out and let you know if those U23 matches
I will get on that.
are available anywhere. Liz will crack open her Rolodex and
You know me.
get her contacts going at US Soccer to get that information. But for now, make sure that you're subscribed to our channel across all podcast platforms and YouTube, and go to redstarsreport.com to keep up with the latest news. We'll be back next week. We'll talk about something, I'm sure. Maybe, I don't know.
It depends
Maybe
on when I get back from St. Paul if I will
true.
be here.
Yeah, it might be someone else, and we'll have some topic to go on. But we'll see you next week, and if not next week, we'll see you the following week for another Red Stars report
After we beat Angel City.
after we beat Angels.